my water just broke. I felt like things really intensified.
She was right there and she was coming.
It was an amazing feeling.
I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. I could feel her head.
We heard her cry. We were squeezing hands and she was screaming.
I'm Bryn Hunt Palmer, and you're listening to The Birth Hour. This podcast is designed as a safe place to come together and share childbirth stories. Stick around and join us to hear informative and empowering birth journeys from all over the world. This episode is in partnership with Motif Medical. Motif designs insurance-eligible products for busy moms. With a focus on innovation and empowerment, Motif's line of breast pumps and maternity compression garments are sophisticated yet discreet and made to support mothers as they navigate new motherhood. Discover why moms are reporting more milk in less time with the Luna breast pump and see how you can get it covered through insurance at motifmedical.com/birthhour. You'll also see their other products there like the Aura Glow, which is their new wearable pump that I discussed at the end of this episode with lactation consultant Jackie. We talk about what makes this wearable unique and how it compares to the Luna, and it's really just a great conversation, so be sure to listen to that at the end of this episode. Before we get to today's birth story, I want to talk a little bit about our online childbirth course. It's called Know Your Options, and this is the course you've been looking for if you just have that gut feeling that you know you should be taking a childbirth course, but maybe the one that's being offered to you by your care provider is not exactly what you're looking for. It might be more catered towards the type of birth they want you to have versus making you informed of all your different options and how to address different things that happen in birth, because as this podcast has shown us, birth is very unpredictable. So we would love to have you check out our 12-module course. You can go to thebirthhour.com/course to see detailed outlines of what is included in the course. You will also get a bonus course called Beyond the First Latch that is an additional 6 modules all about pumping, feeding your baby, going back to paid work if that's part of your plan. And we have a special coupon code for you. It's 100OFF for $100 off enrollment. Again, that's thebirthhour.com/course. Another great way to support the Birth Hour and get more involved in the community is to join our Patreon. You can do this by going to patreon.com/birthhour, and you pledge $5 or more a month, and you get perks like access to our archived episodes. We have over 800 episodes in the archives now that are not available in the main podcast feed. You also get access to our private Facebook group, which is a great place to find support and community, as well as searching the archives there. There's been so many great discussions, and you can just pop a question into the search bar and you'll find some great answers to things that have already been asked. The last thing that we offer to our Patreon members is monthly Zoom calls, which is a really great intimate way to connect with other Birth Hour listeners and me each month. Your support means so much to me. There's a few different ways to do it. You can do a gift membership, send that link to someone who needs a gift idea for you, or you can do an annual membership, which basically gets you like 2 months free. This support means so much to me and really, truly keeps the lights on here at the Birth Hour, because with more podcast networks emerging, it's becoming a little more challenging as an independent podcaster to keep things going. So our Patreon supporters are a huge part of that, and I'm really grateful to each and every one of you. So again, you can go to patreon.com/birthhour to get started with that. Today's birth story guest is Carlyncia, and she's going to be sharing her second birth story. Her first birth was an epidural, and the second time around, she really wanted to have an unmedicated birth. So she talks about making that decision and then making it happen. All right, let's hear from Carlyncia. Hi, Carlyncia. Welcome to the Birth Hour. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, and I'm excited to get to your story. But before we do that, will you tell listeners a little bit about you and your family?
Absolutely. Well, as you stated, my name is Carlyncia. I live in Ohio. I'm a mom of 2. My daughter, Mila, she is 5. She started kindergarten. And then my son, Zion, he's 3, and he's in preschool. I work from home currently as a supervisor, but outside of that, I am deeply passionate about birth work, postpartum wellness, and natural products. Right now, I am a trained full-spectrum doula, and I also run a business, Zenith Beauty, LLC, where I create herbal baskets and postpartum care. And then recently, I've been developing children's resources like a siblings prep coloring book to help families prepare for welcoming new babies.
Oh, very cool. All right. Well, which story are we going to hear today?
So we are going to hear the birth of my son.
Okay, so the more recent one, more fresh in your mind a little bit.
Yes.
All right. Okay, well, why don't you just start us off wherever you feel comfortable as far as getting pregnant, finding out we're pregnant, or the pregnancy.
Perfect. As far as my pregnancy, it was very very smooth. I stayed intentional in basically preparing myself emotionally and physically. That's by looking at resources. I was very, very determined to make a natural experience.
All right. So pretty standard pregnancy, it sounds like. What type of birth were you planning for, and what kind of things did you do to prepare?
So I want to have an all-natural birth. So no epidural, no pain medication at all. What inspired that thought is with my daughter, I didn't do enough research and end up getting the epidural. But as the time came for my son, I was no, I'm definitely not getting the epidural.
What was the experience with the epidural? Did you just feel like it was harder to labor, or was there after effects?
No. So first time I got the epidural, I did not feel it. I wasn't aware. I was just out of it because it was so much pain. It's a long story. I started off on Pitocin, and it was just not a good experience.
Okay.
So that prompted me into taking control of my second birth.
Gotcha. So you just wanted something different from your last experience?
Yeah.
Okay. And then were you planning a hospital birth with an OBGYN or midwives or?
Yes, I planned a birth with midwife, and it was a hospital birth, but it was in the use of a birthing tub.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes.
All right. Well, anything else from pregnancy or preparing for birth you want to share?
In terms of preparing for birth, what I did was I made sure I looked up different videos, videos for pain management that didn't have anything to do with getting the epidural, of course. So I have watched videos of people who have done their makeup, something they was passionate about, their whole laboring process. I watched videos on what you can control in terms of if you want Pitocin or anything like that, how I can better advocate for myself.
And were you just finding those videos Googling, or how did you come across them?
Yes. Google, YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. How did labor start?
So as far as the beginning of labor, that night it started, I was cleaning and nesting for hours, folding up clothes, doing laundry, all of that. I finally sat down, and then me and my partner, we decided to watch a movie. He ended up falling asleep, and before I knew it, it was 2:00 in the morning. I woke up, I eventually dozed off. I woke up and hunched over the couch and realized that it was a contraction. I was what is going on? So I went up to the bathroom because I had to use the bathroom anyway. And then when I wiped, there was the mucus plug, that thick, gooey substance. And from the experience of my last birth, I knew what that was, and I knew what time it was after that. I did things as soon as I realized, I let my partner know. He wanted to know if it's it time to wake up our daughter. Are we going to the hospital at that point in time? I told him no, I'm going to take a bath. So I ran the bath. I sat in the water for a little bit. Contractions were getting a little bit stronger. So I asked my partner to bring clothes, and then he got my clothes together and he helped me get dressed.
Were you timing the contractions at that point, or just kind of going off how you were feeling?
Kind of going off how I was feeling.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you were starting to get ready to go. Or what point did you make the call that it was time to go to the hospital?
So after getting dressed, I told him that he can start getting our daughter ready while I went and bounced on the yoga ball. So I was trying to stay at home as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So I was bouncing on the yoga ball while he was getting her ready. And then after that, it was time to go. So at this time, we had to make a stop to drop our daughter off, which was about 15, 20 minutes away to my mom's house. So as we're getting ready to drop her off, I remember the contractions getting stronger to a point where I wanted to yell, I wanted to scream, but I didn't, just because I knew she was in the car and I didn't want to scare her. Mm. So when we finally dropped her off, that's when I let it out a little bit. And I was
Yeah.
ready.
Like, let's go.
Yes. And then for that, the hospital was 20 minutes away from there.
That's a long time in the car.
Yes, for sure. But it was cool. We finally got there. This is a point in time where they had like a valet parking type thing. So that was pretty cool. So we went in. I remember they asked me for all my identification, like IDs and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like trying to get all that information for them. We finally got into the room, and there was something that went on with the car. So like my partner had to go downstairs for a little bit. And I remember they was trying to find like my vein for the IV. They poked me a lot, but it was okay. I remember one nurse, I said like, hey, like my midwife said I could have a bathtub. And then she was like, oh, we don't have none at that time. I was instantly annoyed.
Yeah, that was a big part of your like decision for going there.
Yes. So I turned to, I think it was like a sub for my midwife. And I asked her, and then she was like, yeah, we can get one cleaned out for you.
Wow, all it took was asking? That's crazy.
Yes, for a second time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, no, I really want this.
Yes. So I asked for that. They started to get that ready. She ended up checking. I was only 4 centimeters dilated at that time. So about like 10 to 15 minutes passed, and they said, okay, you can go into like the tub. At this point, I was wondering if I wanted the tub or the epidural. And then I remember I finally got into the tub, brought the pain probably down half, like the contractions half. So that was nice. It was still like consistent and strong and painful, but it wasn't as bad as when I first came in.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like you just kind of like sink into the water. They call it like the midwife's epidural because it really does provide so much relief. It's not going to make you numb or anything, but it's just like this like relaxation wave, I feel like.
Yes. My contractions were still climbing. It was still getting stronger and stronger. And I looked at my partner. I was like, I think I need the epidural. And then he was like, remember when you told me to not let you get the epidural? So that was cool that he reminded me of that. The nurse came in a little bit after that, and I was asking her like in terms of, okay, what would be my options if I did like want to get the epidural? And she's like, I don't think you're going to need one. And then like I had a contraction, and then she was like, are you pushing? I did not know. I was like shook. Like I'm frozen because of how like intense that contraction was. She was like, yeah, like get out the bathtub, like we need to check you. And I was like, okay. So like she waited until like the contraction calmed down. I finally like started to get out the tub. I took like maybe 2 steps, and I had another strong contraction. But I was actually pushing. The blood trickling down. They didn't even check me. They was like, yep, you're ready. So I kind of stumbled to the bed. I didn't even get fully on the bed. It was like more of a squat. So I got on the bed, but in the squat position because he was coming. And I remember pushing, and then I remember the nurses screaming like, stop. And I like froze. It was like everything went silent. So, and then she's like, touch your baby. And then like, I just couldn't, like, I was just so tired. I was frozen. I just was ready for her to tell me push again. So, then I was able to push again. I pushed, and then he came out. I like turned around. I asked the nurse, I said like, how long did that take? And then she was like, 15 seconds. And I was
my
like,
gosh.
Okay. So, and then like, I remember I was sitting there, and then she had him like in her hand, and she was just like, wow, he has a really big head. And she said it like 3 times. He has a really big head. And then I was like, first thing I was concerned about is like, okay, did I rip? Did I tear?
Yeah.
What just happened? And she was like, nope, you're good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So like at that point in time, they just made me feel like a super mom.
Yeah.
Like praising it, like, oh, you had like because I meant to say, like, they finally, like, when they weighed him, he was actually 9 pounds.
Oh.
9 pound baby. Yes.
Okay, so very fast once you started pushing. How was the immediate postpartum and at the hospital recovery? And then we could talk about going home as well.
Yes. As far as postpartum, like, I felt amazing. Like, I didn't rip, I didn't tear, so it was a different experience from my daughter.
Yeah.
So like I was up, I was moving. So in my pregnancy, one of the things I didn't do is, like, I didn't get a lot of sleep in my pregnancy. So like that pregnancy sleepy and not getting that sleep versus like not getting sleep with a newborn baby was easy to me, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
It wasn't as like hectic or stressful as it was like the first time.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like when you don't tear, it's just such a different experience because you're not having to use the peri bottle every time you go pee. Like, it just doesn't hurt to pee. And you just feel so much more like yourself faster. I mean, you're still exhausted and everything, but it's nice.
I completely agree. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, this is it?
Right? Yeah, I have 3 kids and it took to my 3rd to get that experience. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. And then what about going home and adjusting with 2 kiddos?
So the adjustment period was pretty cool. My daughter, like, she was very, very happy to get a little sibling. She would try to help in multiple ways. Like, she'll even try to use my breast pump. Like,
oh my gosh,
like,
cute.
Like,
yeah.
So like she definitely took in that big sibling role when it came to him. Like, she wanted to do everything. So I had like help in terms of like me and my partner balanced it out. So it was a really good like period. He was more of the crier than my daughter was. So his screams, his yells were very, very loud at that point in time, but it was cool. Like, I was like in a really, really good position at that point in time. Very, very different from my first pregnancy.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I feel like you kind of forget how intense that newborn cry is too. It's like, oh wow. Like, all I'm doing is changing your diaper. Like,
yes.
it's not that big of a deal, buddy. But that's cute about your daughter. I have a picture of my daughter nursing her like 2 baby dolls, like tandem nursing them both when her little brother was born. So it's cute to see them emulating.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well, anything else to share from your story?
I really wanted to basically share it to show people that, just advocate for yourself, especially if they're telling you that a bathtub is unavailable. Like, make sure you continue to keep asking and do your research and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I feel like it can be really intimidating at the hospital, and you're a customer technically, so it doesn't hurt to keep asking for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, do you have any resources you want to share?
Yes. I definitely recommend, of course, like this podcast.
Thanks.
Absolutely. I will also recommend doula training internationals for anyone interested in like doula education.
Yeah.
And then like as far as like herbal, maybe if you want like a doula resource, definitely use me as a resource.
Yeah.
And
yeah, send me the links to your different businesses and stuff. With the doula, did you, like, how long after your son was born did you decide to become a doula?
So I would say after the experience, like with how it was at the hospital and like advocating for myself, like I either wanted to be a doula or a labor and delivery nurse. So after that, so I did like my own like research. But I didn't start the actual training until this year. So I just got trained doula certificate.
Okay. Yeah, becoming a doula is a little bit faster than becoming a L&D nurse.
Yes.
And I think a much different experience. You can really focus on supporting the parents through that versus all the boxes you have to check when you're a nurse. So
Yes, absolutely.
very cool.
And then at that time, I didn't want to go that route because I'm currently in school for psychology.
Okay. You got a lot going on.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I definitely stay busy, but it's something that motivates me further. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll put all the links on the show notes, but do you want to just share the best place for people to reach out to you?
I do have Instagram. It's a startup business page per se.
Yeah.
And that is @_Zenith, ZENITH, beauty, BEAUTY.
All right. Well, thanks so much for sharing today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Now I'm going to talk with Jackie from Motif Medical about their awesome wearable pump. Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for joining me to chat about the Motif breast pump line.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited. We have some exciting things coming.
Awesome. Well, before we get into all of that, will you tell listeners just a little bit about you and what you do at Motif Medical?
Yes. So I am a registered nurse and board certified lactation consultant, and I have the pleasure of being the clinical lactation advisor or clinical lactation specialist with Motif, which just means I get to play around with all the fun breast pumps and tell them all the things that might make the pumps and the products better for breastfeeding families. And I absolutely love it. I also work in private practice, so I still am very much, boots on the ground, helping families in their own homes right after birth or anytime in the postpartum period and the prenatal period, just helping families be more prepared for a breastfeeding journey and all the things that they might encounter.
Very cool. Well, I was lucky enough to get to use the Luna breast pump when it was pretty new. I guess 6 years ago now. My youngest just turned 6. And I talk about all the time how it was my favorite pump of all the ones I had tried, over 3 kids and everything. And then you guys came out with the hands-free pump a couple years ago. And now there's something new on the horizon. So I want to talk about the new pump that's coming out this year.
Yes, we are very excited. Just after the first of the year, we are launching the Aura Glow, which is a new wearable pump. You might remember the Aura as our original wearable pump, and it's still available, but we've got a new player on deck that I think is going to provide a lot of really sought after features, a lot of great pump quality, and something that moms I think are going to be really excited to use on a pretty regular basis as they're going back to work or just going about their lives where they need to be hands-free, need to have that wearable pump option.
Very cool. So I know you guys kind of take a lot of, I don't know, advice isn't the right word, but you take feedback. There we go. You take feedback from customers and what people are liking about pumps and things like that. So what are some of the differences with the Aura Glow that we can expect to see?
Yes, I love this question because this is why I love working with Motif, that they are so particular about taking feedback from the professional community, from the families who are using their products, and they're not just looking to pump out products that, sell. Obviously, it's a business. We need to sell things to stay in business, but the idea is to make products that actually meet needs and make pumping easier for people so that they naturally just want to buy the products, which I love that idea. And I love that we've built the Aura Glow based on feedback. So the thing I'm most excited about is the expanded flange sizing. So you get 5 flange sizes right in the box. So you get the 24 millimeter breast shield, but we also include 15 millimeter, 17 millimeter, 19 millimeter, and 21 millimeter inserts so that right out of the box, most people are going to be able to find something that allows them to pump efficiently, effectively, and comfortably. And then if those sizes don't work, the 15 through 24 that come in the box don't work, we also have even smaller sizes, 11, 12, 13, and 14 millimeter inserts available. and then a 27 millimeter breast shield available for those that might need a larger size. So excited about that. The other things that I think set this pump apart, it's a powerful wearable. So the suction is 260 to 280 mmHg. So that's millimeters of mercury. That's how we measure that suction pressure. And that puts it on par with the suction of pumps like Luna. It's still a wearable, still something that we're going to classify as a secondary pump that we would use to complement the Luna, but it's powerful. And it has 2 pre-programmed pumping modes, which are just, I think, something that's going to make life so much easier and take a lot of the guesswork out of, what settings do I use? How do I set my pump to get the most out of it?
Yeah, the different sizing is huge. I know I tried a wearable pump with my last baby, and it was very early on in the making of these, but that did not work for me and was not comfortable. So having those different sizes is amazing. And do you guys provide some kind of guidance in the packaging, or can people reach out to help find the right size?
We do provide guidance in the packaging. That's all been updated to match the most current information we have about flange sizing. So as I said, Motif is huge on listening to that feedback, and lactation consultants have been screaming about flange sizing for a while now, and Motif definitely has listened by including those smaller sizes and that flange sizing guidance that does fit the most current information that we have about getting the right size.
Amazing. So you also mentioned the programming modes for pumping. Can you explain a little bit about those and what's different with the Aura Glow?
Yes. So I think this is revolutionary. I love this idea. There are 2 pre-programmed pumping sessions. There is the cluster feeding mode and the general pumping mode. And you can still use the pump, just as you normally would use a breast pump. But the cluster feeding mode has these 5 levels of pumping and then pause, pumping and pause to mimic how a baby cluster feeds. So that can help increase milk supply. And without the need to do this big, long power pumping, hour-long power pumping session, it's this 30-minute pre-programmed session that your pump will move through all by itself. And then the general pumping mode is just a way to maximize your pumping efforts a little bit by triggering a couple of letdowns. So it goes through massage mode and it stays there for 2 minutes to help trigger that letdown. Then it goes to expression mode and you get that, longer, more rhythmic, kind of mimicking how the baby suckles once your milk has let down. And then it will go back to the massage mode automatically to trigger that second letdown. And then go back to expression. So it repeats the massage, expression, without you even having to think about it. And that way you can get a little bit more out of the time you're spending pumping.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't think I've heard of that before on a pump. And I'm just sitting here picturing a nursing session with baby and they kind of fall asleep and then they're like, oh, wait, I want some more. And they wake up and then you have another letdown. And I could see that being something that you would really benefit from as far as milk supply with a pump that could do that as well.
Yes, exactly. Just trying to take advantage of all those hormone fluctuations and all the ways that our babies know exactly how to influence our milk supply. We're just trying to mimic that with the pump setting.
Awesome. Okay. So then you mentioned that, you do classify it as a secondary pump. What kind of guidance would you give people that are trying to decide, what pump is right for them, based on whether they're pumping full time or using it occasionally or, lifestyle, things like that? Do you, especially in your work in private practice, I'm sure you see a lot of people wondering what they should get.
Oh, yes. I get this question a lot. And the truth is, when we do anything other than traditional flanges and that high quality double electric pump, like the Motif Luna, anything that doesn't have those traditional flanges and that powerful motor is really considered a secondary pump. Now, does that mean it's not going to work or it's not going to be effective? It's not going to have its place? Of course not. We know lots of people are using wearable and portable pumps, and many of them are very successful at building and maintaining milk supply. But for most people, we want to rely on something that's a primary pump like the Luna to build and maintain a milk supply, and then use something like a wearable or portable pump, so a wearable like the Aura Glow, as that secondary option that we're using when we just can't drag out the big pump and the traditional flanges. So I have 4 kids. I could very easily see myself needing a wearable pump to be able to keep up with my other children if I were to have another baby. And that would be a perfect scenario to use this pump, at those times when you just need to be hands-free. Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're at work, lots of different scenarios. And what I tell people is, if you're in a situation where you can't pull out that primary pump, then this would be a perfect option. A wearable like the Aura Glow would be a perfect option to complement for those times when you can't pull out your primary pump. And I do have lots of patients who kind of incorporate them from the beginning when they first introduce pumping. We tend to get a better result than if we only use one type of pump and then try to add another pump later. Sometimes it's about getting your body to be sort of conditioned to respond. So maybe adding in that wearable, if you're going to need it, adding it in when you first start introducing pumping into your journey.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I could see it being something that, keeps people nursing their baby just because they may not have pumped otherwise. Like you were saying, you get into a situation where you can't pull out that pump. So you just push off that pumping session, which I know I did with my second baby at work. And then my milk supply suffered. But maybe if I had had something like this, I would have been like, oh, let me just do this real quick while I finish this work or whatever. And I always tell people, block it on your calendar. Like, don't make exceptions. Don't miss a pumping session. But of course, things come up and it can be hard sometimes. So I love that there's just more options out there.
Yes, some milk removal is always better than no milk removal. So it's like, if we can only pump with a wearable, then by golly, let's get that wearable out. That's exactly what we need to do in that scenario. So yeah I love that encouragement that it might make things actually make that breastfeeding journey go a little bit further with the help of the tools that we have now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I love, I've loved everything that Motif has come out with. So I'm so excited for this new launch and to hear everyone's feedback from it. And I really appreciate you taking time to chat with me today about the new Aura Glow.
Yes, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you so much again to Carlyncia for sharing her birth story with us and to Motif Medical for sponsoring this episode. You can get all the information from today's episode by heading over to thebirthhour.com and just searching for Carlyncia's name. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, head to thebirthhour.com and click Become a Member to pledge your support. And as a thank you, you'll get an invitation to join our private Facebook group and access to exclusive episodes. Your vote of confidence and support means the world to me.